Hi, welcome to the 2024 reading of the Ocean Oracle. My name is Sue Marty. I'm creator of the deck, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in and having a listen to what the Ocean Oracle energies offer, or their insight into the upcoming year. All right, so starting with the first card is number 4, Sandbar Drifting. And this is overall energy for the year. So what I might do is I might read and kind of go into this card and then draw another card. I like to kind of do overall energy and then kind of where we've come from, or energy that's informing the overall energy, and also what energy can kind of help within that main card of drifting. And so the stories for Sandbar are: come with me to the sea where we will be drifting. Imagine yourself in the deep, clear blue ocean, drifting on your back, supported by the vast sea. Watch the clouds float by. You are at peace in this tranquil place. Out of nowhere, a small squall comes. Your peace shattered by a sense of panic. You stop trusting in your ability to float, your body rigid with a sense of doom. Eyes shut tight against the formations in the sky. When you open your eyes, you see you have drifted far from the land. More panic as your awareness shifts from your heart to your head. You feel alone in this place, unsupported in unfamiliar territory. Instinct takes over and you put your feet down, forgetting that you are out of your depth, to find them land softly on sand. Out in this unknown place, you have arrived at a sandbar, far from where you started, yet completely safe and looked after. Your peace returns as the storm shifts and you are able to make your way safely to shore. So the message is, have you been cut loose from your life as you know it? Let go and drift, complete in the knowledge that you are being looked after. Sometimes the way forward is not in a straight line. Allow life's currents to carry you. Trust that where you end up, your feet will firmly touch the ground. A lifeline may be extended to you. Trust the line to guide you safely to where you need to go. I find this card really, really interesting. Okay, so it's the end of the year. It's the end of 2023. I'm recording this on New Year's Eve. And I don't want to say I've been anxious. I've been unsettled. It's not often when I get kind of gripped by a little bit of fear. And I'm wary of what's coming in for 2024. You know how we can get to a thing and you're like, oh, I don't, this year has really been hard, and I don't know how much more I can do, how much more I can take, and I need a rest. And I'm really hoping that 2024, like this next period of time, is easier and has more grace in it, like all of that. And that sense of like, oh, how much worse can it be? And the feeling for me underlying all this is it can be so much worse. Not saying that it's going to be worse, obviously, I don't know. But I feel like, we are in this turmoil right now. There is so much going on. And I trust that where it falls, like where we kind of end up, we are going to be in such a better place. I don't know. I think this year to me feels like it's going to be turbulent, like more turbulent than this past year. This past year has been super turbulent. So, and I don't want to say like buckle up, but for me, there is a little bit of that. But I also think there's going to be a lot of grace and a lot of joy And it is going to be a year of a lesson in just being present in the moment, and bringing ourselves back to that over and over and over again. And as we get good at that, we're less likely to be drifting off, let loose in this sea where we don't know where we are. So I think this card to me, I mean, it's at least where I am right now. But remembering the messages of it, like you are supported, we have support, and it's getting, going back into our heart and trusting, like where we land, we will be looked after and we are safe. It's a good one for 2024. So I'm gonna draw another one. And this one kind of feels like 42, see how the resilience. And I'm not clear of where these cards, I know they're all kind of support cards. Usually I do like what the energy is, what informed that and what's going to help it. But yeah, so we get resilience. And so that card, 42. All right. The story. Her childhood had been rocky. She felt alone for much of it, coming into her life through the kindness of strangers. Those strangers were now mostly friends. They were lifelines to her and came at the most unexpected moments, in the most unexpected guises. Her life now was steady and she was proud of where she was. There had been struggles and triumphs, sadness and joy, grief and celebration. But she had trust and faith in life, and that force now shone through her. One of her annual rituals to honor her resilience came at the flowering time of the sea heather. Each summer, she would harvest a bunch of the heather and gift it to someone in her life who had been inspirational to her during the past year. She chose sea heather because of its own resilience. It grew in salty waters, undeterred by the saline conditions. It was hardy and unassuming in its gifts, and its flowers were subtle yet stunning. And even after it was harvested and out of its growing conditions, it continued to hold forth its grace and beauty. The message is, do you need to toughen up against your environment? Are you wanting to hide your gifts because you do not feel strong enough? Let your beauty and grace shine through to even the most extreme environments. Do not let your resilience be unbecoming. Use it as a beautiful strength to get you through these times, dark times. Remember that tenderness, grace, and beauty reside in all. Yeah. So that kind of reminds me that, we have come through a lot, especially in the last few years. And it's like we're repositioning how we are in the world. And that takes a lot of resilience. Like one of the big things to come out of, the COVID years, as I'll refer to them, was our sense of resilience and what we could get through individually and in our communities and as groups. So I do feel like this does kind of inform where we've been in the last year as we move into 2024. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one there for now, and I'm going to draw one more card, just kind of with the intention of what energies can we look to, rely on, call on for support for 2024, but especially when it feels like it's tough going. If nothing, those other two cards came very readily. This one is not kind of making itself known. I don't know. And we get 43, muscle, tenacity. All right, these are kind of strong cards, right? Like, we got a lot of gumption, you know? We're going to be calling on our wiliness is the word that comes to me. And, you know, very much thinking outside the square. And it's not status quo anymore. Like, we're going to have to come up with some creative forces, creative juices to get us through and how we look at things. Because a lot of the old ways, they're not working. We can create how we move forward. And, you know, we're coming from resilience. We're kind of in this drifting pot for 2024, but our tenacity is really going to help us get through this. And so let's see what that story and message has for us. So it's right after Sea Heather. So we've got 42 and 43. So the story. The ocean is its own ecosystem. What resides in the water is dependent on the ebb and flow of the tides, as well as what else lives in and around the water. In all of nature, there are some things which can be both a pest and a predator. Most of the time, the delineation is a matter of perspective. Muscles attach themselves to that which is inactive, unlikely to move. What it anchors to is something which cannot generally escape. Many times, muscles can be found attached to rocks, their fine filaments holding them safe against the tides, allowing them to feed on the abundant nutrients which freely pass by them. The relationship is not one of harm, but when muscles attach themselves to something like an oyster, the relationship is harmful. The muscle's presence could eventually kill the oyster because its tenacious grip renders the oyster unable to move away from the toxins which are exuded from the muscle. These toxins are unhealthy for the oyster's well-being and ultimately its survival. The muscle is not deliberate in this harm, but nonetheless, it still endangers the oyster. The message is, what are you holding on to and not letting go of? Are you holding it or is it holding you? Tenacity can both free and bind. Is what you're holding on to nourishing you in a symbiotic relationship? Or is your grip, your attachment, squeezing the life out of one of you? Is your tenacity poisonous? Or is it a lifeline? Be aware of that which you hold too tightly, of that which holds you. Sometimes letting go that tightly held job, relationship, or idea is the way to free your energy flow for something more life-enhancing to enter into your ecosystem. So I love this as the third card in this reading for 2024. Yeah, just that last, things are flowing out of my head faster than they're coming in some days or some minutes. Yeah, so sometimes letting go of that tightly held job, relationship, or idea is the way to free your energy flow for something more life-enhancing, right? So, you know, along the lines of, we need to look at different ways to do business than we've normally been doing them, in a broad sense, macro sense, as in business. And these, you know, we're kind of bound by rituals and traditions. And I've spoken about this before. They have held us well. They've been important for us. They've given us guidelines. But as those systems fall away, do we need to hold so tightly to those traditions and those beliefs that were born upon us by our life circumstance and the family we were born into and the place we were born? Is it time to, you know, certainly use them as guideposts, right? We can't totally get rid of them. We don't have to turn our backs on them, but they also don't have to be the reasons for how we move forward. We're, we're drifting. We're in uncharted territory. Like, we have been set free to kind of find where our feet are going to land. And, using our resilience and our tenacity, we can come up with a new way of being. And this all has made me feel better about moving into the new year in a very few hours. And most of the world, half of the world, a lot of the world is already in the new year. So it's crossing that bridge from 2023 to 2024. And not, again, like for me, not holding on to kind of the discomfort I have about it. And I just feel like we may be in for a ride. And how do we look at that? Do we look at it with fear and trepidation? Or do we look at it with excitement, like, all right, let's see where this takes us. So in all of that, I wish you a very, very joyful new year, and happy. And I hope that you know that you're not alone. And I appreciate you listening and tuning in. And more about me or the deck is at theoceanoracle.com. Please be kind to yourself and please take care.